I told people it was a treasure hunt because I'm chasing gold sounds normal, and I'm chasing my father sounds like I need help. My dad vanished at sea when I was 12. Storm, rescue boats, news crews for a few days, and then silence. No body, no funeral. Just a missing person report that never stopped being open in my head. You don't get closure when the ocean keeps the evidence. You just grow around the hole and pretend it isn't there. I became a diver for the same reason people learn how to fight after they've been hurt. I wanted the world to stop feeling bigger than me. Last week, while helping my mum pack up the attic, I found my dad's old dive log sealed in a plastic box. Most of the pages were ruined, but one entry survived like it wanted to be found. Coordinates, a symbol he used to doodle when I was a kid, triangle inside a circle, and one sentence, written like he was in a hurry. Wreck at 43 meters, cargo hold, marked chest. If anything happens to me, you'll know where I went. I read it until the words didn't look real. That wreck wasn't on any chart. I checked official maps, diving forums, even old shipping records. Nothing. Like the ocean had erased it. The smart choice would have been to hand it off to professionals. But grief doesn't care about smart. Grief wants you to touch the truth with your own hands, because you think your hands will make it gentler. I called Mara, the only diver I trust when things go wrong. She listened, quiet, and asked the only question that mattered. Are you going for treasure, or are you going for him? I didn't answer fast enough. She sighed like she already knew, and said, "One dive. If anything feels wrong, we're done." We rented a small boat and reached the coordinates just before noon. The sea looked normal from above, calm blue, small waves, but the air tasted metallic, like a storm had been there recently and left teeth marks behind. Mara pointed at the surface and made me look. A faint line in the water, like a seam. One side drifted with the current, the other side moved against it. A split current in open sea where it shouldn't exist. Wrecks change water, she said. But that's strange. I felt that old childhood anger rise in me, hot and stupid, like the ocean was pretending it never stole anyone. We geared up. I checked my regulator twice. I touched my back up like a prayer. Mara watched me with that calm patience you only get from people who've seen panic kill. Then we rolled into the water. The cold bit through my suit. The world above muted instantly. It became breathing, bubbles, and the slow fall into darker blue. At 20 meters, the sunlight started to thin. At 30, my dive light became the only honest thing I had. At 43, the bottom finally revealed itself, and the ship appeared below us like a thought turning solid. It was lying on its side, torn open, ribs exposed. It didn't look like a wreck that had been dead for decades. It looked preserved, too preserved. The metal edges were sharp, not softened by years of growth. Mara angled her light along the hull, and I saw letters under the silt. The name, barely readable, Eidolon. Something about that word made my stomach tighten. I couldn't explain it. We found an entry hole where the deck had collapsed. Mara tied a guideline and secured it, then signaled me close. The moment we slipped inside, the silence changed. Not just quieter, wrong. Like sound was being absorbed. My ears pressed as if the ship had its own pressure. My light cut through floating dust and revealed plates scattered on the floor, a broken chair, and a child's doll wedged under a pipe. A doll had no business being intact down here. Its glass eye caught my light and shone back at me like it was watching. Mara saw it too. She didn't stop, but her posture tightened. We moved deeper through tilted corridors, past cabin doors hanging half open, curtains floating like pale skin. My dive computer beeped warnings. Time, depth, decompression limits. I kept going anyway, because I wasn't thinking like a diver. I was thinking like a son. Then the corridor opened into the cargo section, and there it was. The chest. Half buried between pipes, exactly like the logbook said. Mara's light swept across it, and her head snapped toward me like she was asking if this was worth it. I swam closer, and my blood turned cold. On the lid was the symbol. Triangle inside a circle. Carved deep. Fresh edges. Not old. Fresh. Like someone marked it recently for me. My breathing got louder in my mask. I looked around instinctively, and even though I saw nobody, the wreck suddenly felt crowded. I brushed silt off the latch. The metal under my glove felt warm. It shouldn't have, but it did. Like it had been touched. I opened it. The chest clicked like a new door lock. Inside wasn't gold. Inside was a waterproof case. And my dad's watch wrapped in cloth. The same scratched bezel. The same cracked strap. The same little chip on the face from when I dropped it as a kid. And he laughed and said, "Now it's yours too." My eyes burned. I forgot the water, forgot the rules, forgot everything. I grabbed it and held it to my chest, like it could rewind the world. Mara touched my shoulder, steadying me. Then she pointed at the waterproof case, reminding me, "Take proof." My hand shook as I opened it. Inside was a folded paper in a plastic sleeve, and a small audio recorder sealed in resin. The paper had fresh ink. My dad's handwriting again. I lifted it toward my light, and my heart stopped. "If you're reading this, you didn't listen. I'm sorry. I love you. Don't trust the voice." I stared at the sentence until it didn't feel like language. Don't trust the voice. What voice? Mara tried to take the note to read it, but I jerked it back like an idiot. The wreck groaned, a deep metal moan that vibrated through the walls. My light flickered. Mara's eyes widened. Another groan, then a crack like a gunshot, something snapping above us. The cargo bay trembled, and silt exploded into the water like a smoke bomb. Our visibility vanished in 2 seconds. My light became a pale cone, reflecting nothing but dust. I spun, trying to find the corridor back. Gone. The ship had swallowed its own exit. Mara grabbed my arm and pulled me toward the guideline. We followed it by feel through the grey soup. Then the line went slack. My stomach dropped. The guideline wasn't snapped. It was cut, clean. The end floated like a severed nerve. Mara stared at it, then at me. Even through a mask, I could see it in her eyes. Somebody did that. Her hand signs turned sharp. Abort. Now! We turned, searching for any opening, any break in the hull. My breathing sped up. I forced it down. Slow, in, out. Then my comms crackled, and a sound filled my ear that didn't belong underwater. Breathing. Close, slow. Like someone was sharing my mask. I jerked so hard my tank hit metal. Mara's head snapped toward me, asking what's wrong. The breathing continued. Then a voice came through, calm and low. "Stop kicking!" My blood became electricity. I knew that voice the way you know your own name. "Dad?" I whispered, and bubbles swallowed the word. Mara shook her head violently and pointed at my ear unit. "Take it off!" But I couldn't. I couldn't move, because the voice came again, softer now, like it was trying not to scare me. "You'll burn your air. Listen to me." I wanted it to be real, so badly my brain started cooperating with the lie. "Where are you?" I breathed. The voice answered, closer. "Right here." Something gripped my wrist. A hand, fingers, firm, human, not debris, not current. A real hold that knew exactly how to guide me. Mara saw my arm move and lunged, grabbing my harness, pulling me back. But the grip pulled harder, yanking me sideways into a narrow slit between steel and crushed wood. I fought to go back to Mara, but the opening was too tight. Mara tried to wedge in after me and got stuck, her tank scraping, her shoulder pinned. I saw her light flashing frantic emergency signals. The hand tightened on my wrist like a warning. Not her. You. Panic detonated in my chest. I kicked, squeezing through metal teeth, shoulder scraping, light flickering wildly. Behind me, Mara's light faded as the ship swallowed distance. I was alone. The passage opened into a small pocket of clearer water, and I stopped, floating, trembling. My light steadied and revealed a chamber that didn't belong in a wreck. The walls looked reinforced, cleaner, like someone built a room inside the dead ship, and in the center was an upright door. Not a hatch. A door, like you'd find in a hallway on land. A brass plate on it read, Eidolon. Beneath it, another plate with one word. Replacement. My lungs forgot how to work. The voice in my ear sounded broken now, like it hurt to speak. I tried to stop you. Where is Mara? I gasped. She can still leave, the voice said. You came for me. The door handle turned by itself. The door opened inward. The darkness behind it wasn't water dark. It was deeper, like the absence of light. And from inside came a low hum, like a crowd whispering all at once. My skin prickled under my suit. The voice warned, Don't look inside. I couldn't help it. My light flickered, and in the split second it worked, it illuminated shapes beyond the doorway. Rows of figures sitting like passengers, perfectly still, facing outward. And one seat was empty. The empty seat had something on it that made my stomach fold in half. A name tag. My name. The whispering rose, more excited now. A new voice slid into my comms, warm and familiar. My mother's voice. Please, it begged, shaking. Come home. He's here. I felt my body lean forward before my mind caught up. That wasn't possible. My mother was alive. But grief doesn't care about possible. It cares about want. My father's voice snapped, furious. No, it learns you. The hand yanked my wrist back. It tries different faces until one fits. The whispering in the doorway sharpened into words. Step in. My air gauge dipped toward red. Too fast. Like something was drinking it. I backed away, but the chamber felt tilted toward the door. Like gravity existed here and it hated me. I grabbed a pipe to anchor myself. I could hear movement now. Slow shifting from those seated shapes, like they were turning their heads to follow me. My comms crackled again. Mara's voice, distorted and frantic. I see a light. Where are you? Relief hit me so hard I almost cried. Mara! I shouted into bubbles. Don't! Static swallowed my warning. The whispering laughed softly, like it enjoyed that. The father voice turned gentle again, and it hurt worse than the fear. It's using me. Your note was right. Don't trust the voice. Trust what you do next. What do I do? I whispered. The answer came like a confession. Give it your hook. I understood immediately. The hook was the watch, the proof, the thing I came for, the object turning my grief into a leash. No, I breathed. That's all I have. It's not, he said quietly. It's what keeps me missing. Missing means maybe. Let me be gone. My chest cracked. The doorway whispered my name again. My mother's voice returned, crying now. Please, please just open it. My air alarm screamed. I saw it clearly then. The ship didn't have to drown you. It just had to make you choose wrong while desperate. My hands trembled as I pulled out the watch. The cracked face stared back at me like an eye. I held it, and for a second I wanted to keep it forever, to anchor my father in something solid. Then I thought of Mara trapped somewhere in collapsing corridors because I couldn't accept reality. I opened my fingers and let the watch drift. The moment it left my hand, the chamber reacted like an animal. The hum changed pitch. The whispering turned angry. The door slammed halfway shut, like it was losing control of me. "Now!" my father's voice barked. The grip on my wrist yanked me toward the slit. I kicked hard, squeezing into the gap, tank scraping, shoulder catching. Something cold grabbed my fin from behind, fingers like ice, nails scratching rubber. I kicked free and felt the grab slip away like it didn't want to waste effort if it couldn't own me. The ship groaned again, and the chamber shook. Photos on the walls fluttered. Wait, photos? My light flashed, and I saw them for the first time. Waterlogged family photos, pinned to the metal like bait. Weddings, babies, smiling faces, and among them, a photo of me as a kid on the dock with my dad. A photo that never left our home. My stomach dropped. The ship kept pieces. It learned people. It remembered. I crawled through the slit with my lungs burning, following the pull like a lifeline. Then I burst back into the cargo bay, and Mara's light cut through the silt like a knife. She grabbed me so hard it hurt, and shoved her backup regulator into my mouth. I sucked air like I'd been reborn. Her eyes were furious and terrified at the same time. The wreck groaned again, louder. Mara signaled, "Out!" We didn't have the guideline. We didn't have a clear path. We had collapsing metal and instinct. Mara led like she'd memorized the ship in 10 seconds, twisting through gaps, cutting around debris. Twice I got snagged, and she ripped me free. Once she got caught on a wire, and I had to slice it with my knife while she kicked helplessly. My heart tried to climb out of my throat. Then ahead, a faint ribbon of blue. Daylight leaking through a torn section of hull. We kicked toward it as the ship groaned behind us, like it was angry we weren't staying. We shot out into open water, and the ocean instantly felt louder and freer, like we'd escaped someone's mouth. We surfaced too fast, didn't care, crawled onto the boat coughing, ripping masks off, gasping air that tasted like metal and victory. Mara slammed her fist onto the deck and screamed, "What did you hear?" I couldn't answer. I was shaking too hard. I pulled out the waterproof case with trembling fingers and gave her the note. She read it. "Don't trust the voice." Her face tightened. Then she pointed at my wrist. Under the glove line was a fingerprint bruised into my skin. 5 fingers and a thumb, clear as a stamp. Mara stared at it for a long second, then looked away like she didn't want her brain to finish that thought. "That can be pressure marks," she said, but her voice didn't believe her. We sat there, wet and silent, while the boat rocked and the sea pretended to be innocent. Mara picked up the sealed recorder from the case and said, "If this is his, we listen now." She turned it on. Static. Then my dad's voice filled the air. Real, recorded, not the sea's imitation. He sounded tired, older than I remembered. "If you found this," he said, "you're already too close. The ship learns you. It gives you a voice back. It gave me my father's voice once. I followed it. That's how it keeps you. It doesn't need chains. It only needs you to want something enough." I covered my mouth, shaking. The recording continued. "It will use my voice. It will use your mother's voice. It will use anything. I left the chest as bait so you'd have proof. But proof becomes a leash. If you want to live, you have to do what I couldn't. You have to let me be gone." The recorder clicked off. The silence afterward was brutal. Mara started the engine without looking at me. The boat turned away from the coordinates. I stared at the surface behind us, expecting to see that seam again, that wrong line in the water. It was gone. Like the wreck had never existed, like it moved when it wanted. That night, back on land, I scrubbed my wrist in the shower until my skin burned, trying to erase the fingerprint like it was a hallucination. It stayed. Hours. And right before it finally faded, I saw something faint pressed into my skin under where the thumb had been. A tiny triangle inside a circle, like the sea had signed me, like it was saying, I know you now. And the worst part is, if I'm honest, the most terrifying thing wasn't that the wreck tried to trick me. It was that for 1 second, when I heard my dad's voice in my ear telling me to come closer, I wanted to believe it more than I wanted to live.